We can say democracy is the opposite to a monarchy or to absolutism. In these ones, there is just one person that has the whole power of the whole society. On the other hand, democracy is about everyone having liberty, freedom of speech. This means individual rights. It's not just about voting. As the name capitalism says, all is about capital. This includes living conditions, working conditions. Also, it is about economic liberalism, free trade, right to start a new business, and also private property in the means of production. The Industrial Revolution started in England at the end of 18th century, and then it spread into the whole continent and later on into the whole world. It was caused primarily by the big changes in technology and the spread of liberal theories. In countries like France, Germany, and Spain, it started at the beginning of 19th century. It caused exploitation for people, and obviously did not help for the development of democracy at all. Then a consequence that has to do with capitalism is that thanks to the misery caused by the Industrial Revolution, the socialist doctrines about the means of production evolved. The utopian socialism in one hand and the scientific socialism in the other hand.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Today I'm here at the streets of Brazil, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the democracy development here in Latin America. It all started because of the people's basic rights weren't being respected, our society being among the most deficit in the world. We start with main shortcoming in the regions, constructing the reforms that have been implemented with the political and economic realities. From this, a series of questions are made. The following questions are these ones. How much poverty and inequality can democracy tolerate? How can this contrast affect social cohesion of nations? And how relevant does the democracy is for the Latin America? The answers were the 54.7% of the Latin American where they accept the democracy, but if they solve the problem of the economic systems, which leads the democracy to install at the poorest societies. Okay, now we're going to Africa to see what this country can bring us. Okay, now that we're in Africa, I want to talk to you something specifically here. I know Africa is now a rich country and it has always been like lower than other countries or regions, however you want to say it. But the problem here in Africa is the other countries don't help Africa develop as the way it should. What do I want to say with this? Africa wasn't a rich country later and further. Either way, it wasn't good economically, and it has never been. And other countries have take control over Africa because of their bad situations. So we can say British attacked Africa and got most of the part of South Africa, also other countries, and that's one. And the other one is that the other countries made illegal fishing on the African areas, and that made Africa poorest than it was, because first of all they came because all of their fishes of the other countries, they were gone because they had extinguished them. So they came to Africa and stole most of them. What do they do to them, to the Africans? Well, the Africans, they had that was the only source of nutrition, including some animals and plants. But the problem was they already ate all the animals, all the plants. Most of them were in danger of extinguish. So now with the illegal fishing of the other countries, Africa was going from bad to worse. So this led to Africa made their own revolution, you could say, and they started using little ships to attack the big ships who came to steal all their fishes and the illegal fishing. So when they saw that the big ships start extinguish all of their fishes, Africa's people just said, okay, we have to move a city, this is not working, so we have to go and look for work in another country. Africa is no longer good for living. So because of the big ships stealing the fishes illegally, that was not the only thing they did. They intoxicate the other fishes, for the Africans can't eat it and can grow as a big country, nation, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, the other countries did not help Africa at all. It did not help the development of Africa at the moment. If you could help Africa right now, please do it. It will be really good for you and for Africa. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy.
Industrialization started in 1830, and thanks to immigrants, USA get easily ways of communication and workers. This also helped commerce and make people to expand in the territories, also make the cost of the transport minimum. The northern part was the most industrialized, but there were also other differences between north and south. The north had an ideology of democracy and no slaves, but south were in favor of exploitation and slavery. When Abraham Lincoln arrived to the presidency of the US in 1860, the idea of democracy was stronger.
Hi, I'm going to talk to you about how democracy and capitalism was in the Middle East in the 19th century. Well, first of all, the Middle East was governed by the Ottoman Empire.
Were leaders of the Turkish warriors for
the Ottomans attracted masses of nomads and urban employees roaming through the Middle East, searching for means to gain their livelihoods and to fulfill their religious desire to expand the territory of Islam.
We have four main occupational groups: peasants, artisans, merchants, and pastoral people. Merchants were exempt from the regulations of government and taxes.
This period was generally tolerant with non-Muslim people, but they made them pay taxes or convert to Islam. Take advantage of the decay in the defense system of the frontiers, also in the rise of economical, social, and religious discontents in the Ottomans captured Constantinople in 1453, the capital of Byzantine Empire, and they renamed it Istanbul. Was the result of a long-term struggle between Russia and the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire has controlled the Balkans in the southern in Europe, and Russia was really interested in expanding his territory in that. However, the Ottoman Empire was in decline, so they take advantage of this, but they couldn't win the Ottoman Empire because Britain and French was with them. So the Turks, Britain, and French
This war ended
Russia.
in 1856 with the Treaty of Paris, where Russia allowed to put Moldavia and Wallachia under the protection of
Crimean War
destroyed some relations that were made in Europe, like Austria and Russia are now enemies, and Russia was humiliated, so
in this period there is no democratic system, but we have also rights, because in other Muslim religions women have no rights at all, and here they are treated just like men, and they wouldn't force them to marry, and they sometimes also could seek to divorce. The development of capitalism, because when you are an empire, you are searching for means of production to have capital and industrialization.
Capitalism and imperialism arise in the 19th century, like for example in China, where British didn't like the agreements of trading they had with China because they could only merchant with a few firms, and as they failed in improving this deal, they started to trade opium. This led British destroyed China coastas and river forts. This war ended with the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842. This trade means that China would open 5 coastal ports to the trade with British, and not with the Chinese laws, but to their
In India,
own
the
laws.
British government had a company called East India Company to become actively involved in military and political affairs. This company had his own Indian soldiers called sepoys. The British rule in India made changes in economical, educational, and social systems. Like in economical systems, people leave the cultivation of food to cultivate cotton for the British people. So this made 30 million people die of starvation of capitalism that is in hand with imperialism because British colonized India and China searching for means of production to make his power bigger and bigger. The level of democracy we can see it in India's process of independization from British. Gandhi had studied law in London and had worked in a law firm of South Africa when he realizes the racial exploitation of Indians. He studied and India has one of the most strongest democracy in the world.